Hey guys, this is New Sensei. Today we have another backyard archery topic, and it's another very frequently asked question. Is it okay to leave my bow in the car? And talk about in the back seat or in the back of your car. And by extension, is it okay to leave my bow in the garage? Now, there are obvious answers and reasons, but there are also some things to consider which a lot of people don't think about when it comes to bow storage. The main reason why this question is asked is because of concern that the bow might become damaged. And there are two main things that can happen. The first one is a twisted limb, and the second thing is, more alarmingly, a delamination. And that's when the different layers of a limb come apart and basically your bow is now useless. What causes these things? The main cause is the condition that the bow is stored in. And we're thinking about hot, dry conditions. Now, the back of a car is very convenient for storing things for obvious reasons. And out of convenience or out of laziness, we might want to keep our bow in the car. Now, is this inherently bad for the bow? Not necessarily, and it mainly depends on what kind of bow you have. If you have a modern bow that's made from fiberglass or fiberglass layers or carbon and foam, then the risk to your bow is negligible. Even though the temperatures inside the car might fluctuate, modern materials are far more resistant to condition changes than traditional wooden bows. Now, if you have a traditional or wood bow, that's when I would be a bit more concerned about leaving it inside the car. Remember, you can't leave your pet or baby inside the car. You can, cook stuff inside the car if you leave on a hot day. So leaving a wooden bow inside a hot car, while you might not damage it once, if you continually leave it there, that might be an increase in risk factor in damaging the bow. The reason why this happens is not just because it's hot, but it's also because the temperature fluctuates if you leave it there. It goes from really, really hot to cool to really hot the next day and so on. So the cycle will probably wear down the bow's life expectancy much quicker than if you took better care of it by storing it in a better place. Same thing for your garage, and it just depends on the conditions and how we control the conditions inside your garage. If it's cool and dry, nothing bad's going to happen to it. If it's going to be very hot and there's no ventilation, it warms it really quickly like an oven, then you might find again that the wooden bows will suffer a lot more. And you can't really tell something's wrong until you pick it up and you hear a snap. The wood loses flexibility or it starts to set, especially if there's uneven pressure on parts of the bow. Like if you're standing it up or something's pushing down on it or it's something sitting on the limb, that's when you get the limb twist. And these things are largely irreparable. Some minor twists could be remedied, but for the most part, if it's really twisted, you can't use it safely. And if the limb is cracked or delaminated, that's gone. And this is the main concern when you're buying a used bow or second-hand bow, especially one that's been in the family for a long time, your father or grandfather or other relative, and you've just found it and now you want to use it or you want to sell it. That's where I'll be most worried, is how well has it been stored. Now, if it's been stored correctly in a cool, dry place and there's been very minimal exposure, then the bow will probably be as good as new. But if it's been poorly stored, very likely it's not going to be usable. So just to recap, a traditional wooden bow is more susceptible to damage via being left in a car or garage in very hot conditions, especially fluctuating conditions. If you have a modern bow, like a modern target bow or a compound bow, for the most part you can safely leave them inside the car, especially if you put them in a case and you can easily take it in and out. So if you leave in the car, it's okay. There is one very big catch. If it's in your car, it's going to be stolen. That's just a fact of life. At some point or another, someone will try to break into your car or steal your car, and if your bow and other archery equipment is in your car, that's gone. That is, and same with your garage too. Someone can break into your house and often it's through the garage, or that might be the place where people put things, and people will go there and take things. So the garage and the car are very prime locations for thieves and burglars to take stuff, and so many things go missing from garages and the car. If it's visible, then it's going to look very expensive, especially if it's a nice fancy compound bow. It's going to be taken. And I'm sure there will be so many people who are watching this or will be commenting below who will say they've had them both stolen. And that's what you just have to be wary of. I know a lot of us are caught on the idea of damage and all that sort of thing, but it's actually security which is the bigger problem. Even if your bow doesn't melt down inside the car or your garage, it's going to disappear if you are careless with where you place it. Now, of course, where you actually put it is up to you. It's not in the realm of a firearm where you have to secure it under lock and key and keep it separate, from the ammunition. There aren't bow control laws, and hopefully there won't be. But you need to put it in a place where you can be reasonably sure that it's not going to be stolen or misused. So leaving the garage or leaving it in the car is kind of asking for it, and I'm guilty of it as well. I do often leave my bow case and all my gear in my car because I shoot nearly every day, or at least I say I do. So I might leave it there, I'll drive to work, leave in my car, and then I'll go to my club after work and shoot. But at any point during those, say, 7 or 8 hours, if someone breaks in my car, it could be stolen. So if I was really, really pedantic, I would make sure I take all my gear with me when I go to work, but that's a bit of a hassle. It's a risk I take, but something you should consider when you are traveling or when you are going to work and you're shooting afterwards is just make sure that if you do leave it in your car, then it's not blatantly obvious you've got a very, very expensive bow in your car. That goes for a lot of things, things like phones or GPS devices and so on. And just don't forget your bow. And again, you might leave in the back seat or on your trunk. That really matters. So just keep in mind, one, yes, it's okay for a modern bow to be left inside a car, but you probably don't want to do so frequently because if your car gets broken into, you're going to lose a lot of stuff. Anyway, that covers this very quick but very common question, and hopefully that answers everything. Fortunately, I haven't had any issues with storing my bow inside my car or having it stolen, but I'm sure plenty of people have. And if you've had some incidents with your bow, whether through damage and storage or having it stolen from your property or from your car, post below. It's very important that we share these experiences and that other people can learn from your mistakes. Anyway, this is New Sensei. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.